Honourable Member for St. James North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity now for the second time for the day to rise in these chambers and join debate and to, on this occasion, give support to the Law Revision and Law Reform Amendment Bill, which is presently before the House. And I rise on just a few issues, sir. To support wholeheartedly the policy move to make this commission, which since its establishment in 2019 has been doing tremendous work, but to give it now separate corporate identity, distinct and independent from a departmental entity under the Ministry of the Attorney General, and with the bureaucracy that such a being would have, and still, of course, now, until this bill is proclaimed, entails. I know, of course, having been a minister, the bureaucracy which can entail in terms of a ministry and getting systems approved, getting contracts done. The Honourable Attorney General gave the instance by the time you finish, an individual is finished the work, he hasn't got a contract yet. In a lot of cases, he or she. The issue of the payments, going through the whole process and ultimately ending up, of course, with the permanent secretary, who is the chief financial officer of the ministry. And a lot of time wasted when in a lot of cases there's urgency involved. So this now separation and legal distinction as a corporate entity, which this bill seeks the Parliament's approval for, is extremely necessary, sir. The Law Reform Commission, as I said, has been doing tremendous work, which, of course, headed by Sir David Simmons, sir, who, as I said earlier today, of course, an outstanding member, former member of this Parliament and head of the judiciary in this country. And again, as the Honourable Attorney General said, served as well by now late Honourable Justice of Appeal, Mr. Jeff Cumberbatch, as I said earlier, who I had close association with in at least 3 cases, one as a student, one as member of the First Consumer Claims Tribunal, and one we used to play a lot of tennis together at Paragon Tennis Club in previous years. And this commission has been doing tremendous work. It was responsible, or it is responsible, for the draft Rights of Persons of Disabilities Bill, which I know the Honourable Member for St. Michael South has vowed would be brought before this Parliament before the end of this calendar year. When Sir David heard that the Cabinet had appointed a committee, National Advisory Committee, to establish a commission on rights of persons with disabilities and to improve their lives, and that I was named as chairman, he immediately called me up. He called the Honourable Minister for People Empowerment, member for St. Michael Central, and offered the services of the Law Reform Commission to pay for a consultant to draft this extremely vital legislation, which constitutes a vacuum in our law. We now have the policy approved by Cabinet, and we look forward to the law coming into place. And in addition to paying for the consultant, one of the best legal brains in this part of the world, sir, the commission, we had an all-day session at Lloyd Erskine Sandyford. I think it was in November 2022, with stakeholders there, the CPC, two of their officers were there, ministry officials, to go through the bill step by step and to obviously put it in a better place that it can again go to the ministry after we had, of course, had meetings with any and everybody you could think of, sir, in this country short of the devil on the bill. So, I mean, the community for people with disabilities is absolutely indebted to the Law Reform Commission on this issue alone. And I know that the Commission has reached out even further on these and similar matters, because the Mental Health Act, Chapter 45, it is in need of reform, and of course that relates to people with mental disabilities, sir, and believe that they have, on principle, agreed to do work on that whenever the Ministry of People's Empowerment is ready. I know they've also reached out to the Honourable Minister, and to be, even though, of course, there's no longer a committee on issues of having on our statute books an enduring power of attorney legislative framework, which England has, the UK has, for instance. And therefore, it is a situation where these very experienced legal practitioners, all of them extremely experienced, sir, many, many years practicing the law, not only practicing, serving in judicial capacity, some of them have been able to discern what is in need of reform in terms of our legislative framework, and are willing to assist in this regard. But of course, that takes resources. And in this situation, we heard the Honourable Attorney General say that the present staff of the Commission is only 3 right now. So what we're doing today will give wider scope for them to employ more staff, both on a long-term and short-term basis, as the case may be, to employ experts, technical and otherwise experts on their own without having to go through the bureaucracy of the ministry, the Office of the Attorney General. And this makes for better production, to give them that independence. And of course, this Parliament has the confidence in those who serve that they will spend those resources which are voted by this Parliament, no doubt in the estimates coming up, to good use. I agree totally, sir, with the sentiments of the Honourable Minister of Home Affairs at the end of his contribution just now, that Section 32 of this bill is the most important part of this bill, spelling out the functions of the Commission. The Honourable Member spoke about a few of the functions, so I won't go over that. He spoke about 1 or 2, but what readily addresses my mind is the last name function, to obtain such information as to the laws and legal systems of other countries as appears to the Commission likely to facilitate the performance of any of its functions. In other words, this clause is giving the Commission the authority to look at comparative law in our, clearly within our CARICOM, our sister CARICOM countries, but in the wider Commonwealth countries as well, surely, and see what we can utilize to now bring better legal legislative framework in our country. And I mean, we have our Family Law Act, over 40 years ago, based to a large extent on the Australian Family Law Act, our Company Law Act, again, over 40 years vintage, the Substantive Act, based on the Canadian Companies Act. So we don't live in a vacuum or in a cocoon or by ourselves on this 166 square mile rock. And therefore, this function of the Law Reform Commission is of extreme necessity, and to give them the resources, obviously, to do the research into other legal systems and other countries' laws, which we can utilize as precedents and guides for our laws. A provision that excites me as well, too, sir, is that by, I think, the 31st of November of any calendar year, the Law Reform Commission has to submit, Section 34D, prepare a program for law reform of that year and submit it to the Attorney General no later than the 31st of January of that year. And that's very important. The next section mandates the Attorney General to submit a report of the proceedings to Parliament, in fact, with any comments that he thinks fit. This is important, again, to have parliamentary oversight on this issue. And obviously, Parliament can have an input into this. My only concern would be that it doesn't give a time frame by which the Attorney General should submit that program to Parliament. I'm sure an efficient Attorney General such as is present would submit it in good time. I think under most laws, I believe it is within 3 months of the end of the financial year or the beginning of the calendar year. As I said, efficient Attorney Generals such as who we have now will do that, sir. My concern, though, in not putting a time frame is where you get a lazy Attorney General, as we have regrettably had in previous administrations other than this party, sir, and who because there's no time frame fixed, say, I ain't bothering lay any program before any Parliament. So that is my only concern there, sir. Because you always have to take into account, in my opinion, ministerial officials who are not as efficient as those who occupy the positions at present. But this bill provides the opportunity for associations like the Bar Association, for instance, to be making input now into law reform under, as I said, Section 32, where, persons and bodies, organizations, I suppose even obviously members of Parliament are invited to submit proposals on law reform to the Commission. And this augurs well for greater input and transparency and involvement of the public in the affairs of law reform. I mean, we really and truly, what we did in 2019 was novel, sir. Should have been done long time ago, where you had a standing law reform and law revision commission, because we all know, all of us who have practiced law, those who don't, Bajans who are knowledgeable, know that we have a lot of laws on our statute books which are outdated now, some 100 years old, some 70, long past their expiry date, and a situation where we have to give the resources and the capacity to any such commission to propose reforms of these laws and to work with Parliament to have those laws reformed. With that, sir, much shorter than I would normally talk, sir. I'm obliged to you. I just again wish to commend the Law Reform Commission and the commissioners and the limited staff of 3 for the work they have done so far in these 5 years. and to look forward to their continued tremendous work and to be glad to be part of this Parliament to give support to that cause. I'm obliged to you, sir.